It Back Nation. We're going to break down the Sixers-Pelicans game right after this sponsor. Life is getting expensive. Everything's getting expensive. Gas, groceries, everything. One thing that should not be expensive is this. That's why Run It Back Philly has partnered with Mint Mobile to save you money on your phone bill. Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for as low as $15 a month, and you don't have to sacrifice any coverage, speed, or data. They're built on the nation's largest 5G network. They keep costs low because they sell direct to you online. They cut out the retail stores, the salespeople, and all the other BS. Why should you pay more to have access to the same network? You shouldn't. The best part is switching is super easy. I switched right on my phone, bro. I just went on and qualified. Boom, you're done. That's right. You can keep your same device and phone number and just switch to Mint Mobile and save money. That's all you do. Use my link in the description to get premium wireless from Mint Mobile starting at $15 a month. mintmobile.com/runitback.
Run it back, Philly. No frauds, no fanboys, no intros.
Run It Back Nation, what is good? It is your boy DJ Eastwood. Run It Back Philly, no frauds, no fanboys, no intros. Algo gang, you know what to do. Push me through the YouTube algorithm by hitting that like button. Let me get 500 likes on this video. Subscribe to the channel. 50% of people that watch these are not subscribed. That is fraudulent behavior. So please hit the subscribe button and watch games with us on playback.tv. We were watching the Pelicans-Sixers game last night over there on playback.tv/runitbackphilly. It was a blast. Here's a little snippet of what that looks and sounds like.
Oh my God, we have Zion on George Niang? No, please no. They're going back to him. They called it travel. Bro,
So join us over there, playback.tv/runitbackphilly. So the Philadelphia 76ers take down the Pelicans 120-111, and there's a few things I want to talk about that ended up being the reason the Sixers won this game, and that looked better than the last time the Sixers played the Pelicans, the day before New Year's Eve, 2 days before New Year's Eve? I don't remember. But there's a couple things that we did better, okay? First of all, Zion Williamson went out in the fourth quarter, tweaked his hamstring, didn't come back in the game. Obviously, that helps you win. If you don't have to face Zion Williamson, you stand a better chance of winning a basketball game, especially the way the officials were calling this game for Zion. And I just want to say right off the bat that D'Angelo Russell last week got slandered for saying in a post-game press conference that Zion Williamson plays football and you're not allowed to touch him. And I witnessed it firsthand in this game. The NBA officials are officiating just absolutely horrendously for Zion Williamson, and it's terrible for the game. I just wanted to throw that out there. If you watch this game and you watch that second quarter, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyway, Zion tweaked his hamstring in the fourth quarter, didn't come back. Hopefully he's okay. I don't like to see injuries. Zion, after fighting through some injuries and a whole season of trying to get back in shape to get on the court, he's finally healthy. It's been fun, the couple of times that I've gotten to see him, and it's cool that he's healthy and doing what he was expected to do when he was drafted. People thought he was never going to play because he couldn't get under 300 pounds. So it was cool to see Zion back healthy, playing the game that he loves and playing the game that he is expected to be at the top of, when he was so hyped coming out of that draft. But he tweaked his hamstring in the fourth quarter, and it was a non-contact injury. He was really just kind of jogging down the court. So hopefully it's not something that lingers and really hinders him for a long time, but we'll see. But obviously Zion Williamson not coming back in the game helps the Sixers win a game. It is what it is. He absolutely destroyed us last game. But I thought we had some good strategy against him also when he was in this game that we didn't have last time. The number one reason the Sixers won this game is Joel Embiid. That's been Joel Embiid's whole career so far in Philadelphia. That's been this entire season so far. We've struggled with certain things. We have definitely have some glaring deficiencies on this Sixers basketball team roster-wise, coaching, lineup, decision-wise, on and on and on. And every single time those deficiencies seem to rear their ugly head, Joel Embiid puts on a Superman cape and wins the game for the Philadelphia 76ers. And he did it again last night. He finishes the game with 42, 11, and 5. Which he makes look completely normal, which the national media doesn't care about. They don't have him even close to the MVP ladder, even though he's leading the NBA in scoring, and he's the number one. He has the number one defensive rating in the NBA for players that qualify minimum 2,000 minutes. So, offensively and defensively, he's totally dominating the NBA, and he's not on your MVP list because you're a fraud, all right? But he does 42, 11, and 5, and he makes it look normal. You won't hear anybody talk about it. You won't see NBA Legion tweet it. You won't see the NBA, whatever other Twitter page tweet it. You won't see the NBA tweet it. It is what it is. It's just normal now. It's just Joel Embiid dominates. Nobody talks about it. It is what it is. 42, 11, and 5 last night. If Jokic, Anthony Davis, Luka Doncic, whoever, I mean, if Devin Booker had 42, 11, and 5, the world would explode. You know what I'm saying? Every time one of those guys does 42, 11, and 5, the national networks have a circle jerk for a week. Joel Embiid does it on a nightly basis, and nobody talks about it. But anyway, 42, 11, and 5 last night. But realistically, what he did last night was come up huge in the biggest moments of the game. He started the game out hot, 13 points in the first quarter. I think he had 9 of the Sixers' first points in general. He had 2 threes in the first couple of minutes. He started out real hot, thought he was going for 75, which I think before Joel Embiid's career is over, we're going to get a game. We're going to get a game. We're going to get a game where he drops 80. And I don't think that's out of reality at all. I think we're going to get a game like that. But he started this game out hot. But really, in the grand scheme of things, when the Sixers tried to give up that run that they always give up, that fourth quarter run that the Sixers always give up where they're just going to blow a game, where you feel like you got to have a 25-point lead to feel safe with this basketball team in any game whatsoever. Zion Williamson's out. He's not coming back. The Sixers should win the game easily, and they start to give up a run at the end of the fourth quarter. And when they started to give up that run and you started to feel like, we're going to blow this game, Joel Embiid brought it home for us. He had 3 field goals in the fourth quarter. The first one came with 4:29 left in the game. The Pelicans had just cut the lead to 7. James Harden, Joel Embiid, pick and roll. Joel goes all the way to the rim, gets an and one on Hernan Gomez. The James Harden-Joel Embiid pick and roll is the most unstoppable play in basketball. When the Sixers have a game like this and the other team starts to make a run and they refuse to run the James Harden-Joel Embiid pick and roll and they just run a whole bunch of ISO ball, Harden ISO on players that at this stage of his career, he probably can't take one-on-one, forces it, flops on the floor, yells at the ref, hate to see it. Or you just go Joel Embiid catching the ball outside the three-point line and trying to create the offense every single possession towards the end of a game. It pisses me right off. And it makes me look right at Glenn Rivers and say, how are you not making them run the James Harden, Joel Embiid pick and roll? The best passer in the game, handling the ball around the screen with the best center in the game. It should be obvious. So this game, late fourth quarter, Pelicans start to make a run. We spam the James Harden, Joel Embiid pick and roll. Oh, look, it's rocket science, and it works. So that's what happened at the end of this game. Joel gets a huge finish with 4:29 left when the Pelicans cut the lead to 7. The next one, same pick and roll. Hernan Gomez steps back this time, doesn't let Embiid roll all the way to the rim. Embiid hits a jumper. The third one, the Pelicans actually go zone. We get an Embiid-Murphy mismatch again on the Embiid-Harden pick and roll, and Embiid hits a jumper. So 3 times in the fourth quarter, we ran the James Harden, Joel Embiid pick and roll. The New Orleans Pelicans could not stop it. They had no clue what to do, and they even went zone on the third attempt, and Joel hit a jumper. James Harden, Joel Embiid pick and roll. Spam, 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 spam. Number 2. The number 2 way the Sixers stopped the Pelicans and won this game. Their strategy on Zion Williamson. And yes, he went out in the fourth quarter and didn't return, but their strategy on Zion Williamson was worlds better than it was the last time they played the Pelicans. We didn't leave Montrezl Harrell out there to dry to guard him for 1 minute and 51 seconds where he gave up 10 points. Montrezl only got stuck guarding Zion Williamson last night for 19 seconds. That's step 1. Don't let Montrezl Harrell guard Zion Williamson. That's step 1. And in that 19 seconds, Zion went right at him, and I actually thought he played pretty good defense, and the officials gave him a BS foul call like they were giving him all night. But yeah, I'd say that's a big part of it, is that Montrezl Harrell was only stuck guarding Zion Williamson for 19 total seconds in the game. Players that guarded him the most were Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, and P.J. Tucker. So even George Niang didn't get stuck out there on an island trying to guard Zion Williamson like they did in the first game. In the first game, Zion Williamson was on George Niang and Montrezl Harrell for a total of 2 minutes and scored 16 points. So we learned from our mistakes. It shouldn't take a game like the first one to know what to do in the second one, but that seems to be what this coaching staff does. Anyway, I thought Glenn Rivers staggered lineups correctly. At the end of the first quarter into the second quarter, he actually waited for Zion Williamson to come back in the game to bring Joel Embiid back in the game. Did Glenn Rivers actually have strategy with his lineups? Was he really looking at Zion and saying, I'm not taking Embiid off the floor until Zion comes off, and I'm not bringing him back until Zion comes on? Was he really matching minutes? Wow, that's a big step in the right direction for Glenn Rivers in year 75,000 of his career. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. he did a new trick last night. I don't know. We'll see if he continues. The second quarter, the refs tried to absolutely hand the game to Zion Williamson and the New Orleans Pelicans. It was embarrassing. And I know exactly what D'Angelo Russell means when he says Zion Williamson plays football and you can't touch him. It is pathetic. He does nothing but put his head down, plow into defenders, and gets foul calls every single time. It's the same way Giannis Antetokounmpo plays the game and gets rewarded for it. And it's frustrating because the guy's already physically unstoppable. He doesn't need the officials to help him. He just doesn't need the officials to help him. So he's charging into players. We're getting called for defensive fouls. And on the other end, they're calling us for offense. There was a sequence where Zion Williamson threw the biggest off arm I think I've ever seen. Obvious offensive foul. They give him a defensive foul. And on the very next possession, Tobias Harris comes down the floor, barely throws the arm and gets called for a charge. It was one-sided officiating in that second quarter. They tried to hand the Pelicans the game. They tried to just baby, pamper, whatever you want to call this Zion Williamson superstar treatment BS, and it didn't work. But I see what you're doing, NBA. I see what you're doing. The second quarter, Zion had 12 points and shot 6 free throws. One of the plays specifically that I remember was actually James Harden playing perfect defense on him, sticking him right at the top of the free throw line. He tried to drive past Harden. He failed. He stepped back. He charged again, lowered his shoulder. Bang, right in the middle of Harden's chest. Harden falls on the floor. Obvious charge call. They call it a defensive foul, and they even review it and still hold up the defensive foul. So the referees try to deliver the game to Zion Williamson on a silver platter in the second quarter, and they failed. And I know what you haters are going to say in the comments. How could an Embiid fan be complaining about officiating? Watch games, bro. Watch games. That's all I got to say to you. The third reason and main way that we won this game was our defensive strategy on CJ McCollum. Matisse Thybulle was on CJ McCollum. I know. Again, rocket science. Again, I know. It's like the first game, we were like, bro, this dude had 7 threes in the first half. He had 11 threes in the game in the first a couple nights ago when we played the Pelicans. And it looked like we weren't using Matisse Thybulle, of all people, the best perimeter defender in the game. So finally, last night, Glenn says, oh yeah, I have this player who happens to be probably the best perimeter defender in the entire game. I should probably put him on CJ McCollum. And Matisse Thybulle held CJ McCollum to 2 points, 1 for 3 from the field, but even better, 0 3-point attempts. Matisse Thybulle guarded CJ McCollum, and CJ could not get off a 3-point shot. He couldn't even hardly get to the 3-point line. A lot of times he had to pass the ball. He's almost at half court. Matisse Thybulle is an incredible perimeter defender, and he can not only defend players on the perimeter, he can completely take them out of a game. So yes, Sixers, Glenn, coaching staff, continue to use Matisse Thybulle when a perimeter player like CJ McCollum is absolutely ripping you to shreds. DeAnthony Melton guarded CJ McCollum for most of the game and held him to 7 points. So the combination of Matisse Thybulle and DeAnthony Melton, 2 great perimeter defenders, boom, CJ doesn't have 42 points. Wow, who would have thought? Who would have thought? So that's another way. Stopping Zion, stopping CJ, Joel Embiid being a superhero. That's how we won the game. James Harden had 27 points, 9 assists, and 2 steals. He had 3 3-pointers made. But more so, I thought James Harden was giving maximum effort on the defensive end of the floor. Like I said, he had that play on Zion where, he took a charge. I thought it was an obvious charge. They gave him a defensive foul even after reviewing it. But James got stuck on Zion a couple times, and he really held his own. He really stood his ground, and you can see the difference in James Harden, just his body language and everything when he's really trying on the defensive end versus just standing there and getting completely cooked. I guess maybe he slept off that New Year's Eve hangover. He looked like he had a lot of energy in this game, and he was really giving a lot of effort on the defensive side of the ball, and I thought that resulted in great outcome for the Sixers on the defensive end, slowing down Zion Williamson and CJ McCollum. So maybe James Harden will stay out of the clubs, get enough sleep the night before, and we'll get some maximum defensive effort when the playoffs come around. We'll have to see, what happens there. But he gave you 29 points, 27 points, 9 assists, and 2 steals. And again, they spammed that pick and roll towards the end of the game, and that's all the Sixers have to do towards the end of the game, man. Spam the pick and roll. It should be obvious. George Niang had 5 3-pointers in the game, so bang, bang, Niang was back. Clang, clang, Niang sat out. You know what I'm saying? We got the Honda Pilot with the sliding doors and the flip-down DVD players tonight versus that 87 broken-down Ford Windstar minivan, you know? So we had the good version of George Niang last night. DeAnthony Melton, Mr. Do Everything, was a huge part of the game. Kate Scott called him Mr. Do Something. I was offended by that. Come on, Kate. It's Mr. Do Everything. Get it right or don't say it at all. He had 3 3-pointers, and one of them was basically to ice the game with 1 minute and 40 seconds left. The Sixers were up 110-107 on a Tobias Harris tip offensive rebound. Oh, my God, the Sixers got an offensive rebound from Tobias Harris. Maxey drives, gets clobbered by Hernan Gomez, doesn't get the call. You know, Tyrese Maxey, just referees don't give a shit about him. But Tobias Harris tips out the offensive rebound to DeAnthony Melton at the 3-point line, up by 3 with 1 minute and 47 seconds left, and DeAnthony hits it basically to ice the game. So shout out to Mr. Do Everything, DeAnthony Melton. And speaking of Tyrese Maxey, he played 26 minutes in this game. He only played 18 the last, so he played 26. So, you know, I think Glenn's clearly seeing that he's 100% healthy. He had a couple of nice plays in this game. He had a drive all the way to the basket on Hernan Gomez where he got an and one. He looks bouncy. He doesn't look like he's in any pain whatsoever. He doesn't look like he's hindering the foot or not doing certain things. He looks 100% healthy. He's 22 years old. Screw a minutes restriction. Put him out there. Put him out there. Let him go. All right? And so he played 26 minutes in this game versus 18 in the last game that he came in, and he was actually in the final lineup to finish the game. So I think the Tyrese Maxey coming off the bench, minutes restriction should probably be over. It's over. Put him back in the starting lineup. I don't care. I don't want this 6-man Tyrese Maxey. I already made a whole video on why he shouldn't come off the bench. He's the Sixers' 3rd best scorer, maybe the 2nd best scorer. He needs to be in the starting lineup. So he wasn't in the starting lineup, but he played 26 minutes, and he finished the game in the final lineup. So I'm happy about that. He was rusty. Obviously, he's still rusty. It's going to take him time to get back into the groove, get back into the swing of things, get that basketball mode, you know what I mean? That basketball rhythm back under him. He was 5 for 14 in the game and 1 for 5 from 3. But I like that he's staying aggressive. I like the fact that Tyrese Maxey came back after that injury and hasn't been like hesitant and hasn't been like unsure of himself. He came right back in and said, I'm getting shots up. Even if I completely miss all of them, I'm getting shots up. So for him to get up 14 shots in the game, coming off the bench, he only shot 5 for 14, but he did the same thing the last game that he played. He wasn't afraid to shoot. He looks very sure of himself. He looks confident. It's now just about getting that rhythm back and watching the ball go through the hoop. And you know his shooting percentages will go up as he becomes more comfortable and gets back into the swing of things. So 5 for 14, 1 for 5 from 3 for Tyrese Maxey, but it's great to have him back. He played 26 minutes. He's aggressive. He had a couple of really nice plays. I'm excited for Tyrese to get back into the groove. So there you have it. The Sixers take out the Pelicans. Joel Embiid's a superhero. Zion Williamson tweaked his hamstring at the end of the game, but I thought we had some very good defensive strategy against the 2 players that combined for 78 points against us the last game. What did we get? We got 71 points from Joel Embiid and James Harden last night. So, bang, bang, we answered. We answered the call. Last thing, I think Montrezl Harrell played a good game at backup center. He didn't get absolutely shredded by Zion Williamson. I thought we had a lot of decent strategy to help him out back there with Joel Embiid backing him kind of every time Zion was on the floor, you know. And PJ also guarded Zion for most of the game. I thought PJ Tucker, you know, he fights. He's too small really to guard Zion Williamson. He can't jump like Zion can, obviously. But again, we had a good strategy of backing him up with a rim protector versus just leaving him out there to dry. So I thought our strategy was good. I thought Joel Embiid was a superhero. I thought James Harden had a good game. And it's good to see Maxey back in the game. And the Sixers get the dub. Thank you guys for tuning in. Watch Sixers games with me on playback.tv/runitbackphilly. Sign up for Mint Mobile to save money on your phone bill, obviously. Why would you not do that? And y'all have a fantastic day, man. Peace.